Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. So this one, I think is going to be especially interesting for anyone who's familiar with that Awaken Your Potential YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Which is all about, self-discovery and personal growth and daily motivation and all the good stuff. And, they really dive deep into mindfulness and resilience and all these things.
Absolutely.
And I highly suggest checking out their videos and their podcast too. They're great for like expanded insights and more practical tools and stuff like that. But, I was watching one of their recent videos called Step 8 of 9 Character, the Foundation of True Success and Resilience. And it really got me thinking about this whole idea of like, what does it even really mean to be successful?
Right.
Is it just about like fame and fortune? Or is there something more to it,
Well, that's exactly what this video digs into. It kind of like points to character as this like secret ingredient.
Yeah.
And we're going to kind of unpack that. What does that even mean? Because it's more than just like being a nice person.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we see that all the time, like in the media. It's all about, money and power and all that stuff.
Exactly.
But this video is like, nope, true success, it's about character.
That's it.
Which at first I was kind of like, whoa, really?
Yeah, yeah. And it's not just about like what you achieve on the outside. It's more about who you are, like when no one is watching. What are your values? How do you treat people? What's your integrity like?
Yeah, that's what really matters in the end.
Exactly. It's like, I knew this guy once, super successful in business, but behind closed doors. Totally different story. No integrity, cutthroat, you name it. And guess what? Eventually, it all came crashing down.
Wow.
Because that foundation, that character foundation, it just wasn't there.
Yeah. So it's like, even if you seem successful on the surface, if you don't have that solid character base, it's not going to last.
It's not sustainable, no. And you won't find that real fulfillment either,
Totally. And the video talks about 3 like main qualities that build this strong character.
Yes.
Self-discipline, resilience, and a growth mindset. Have you heard of those?
Oh, absolutely. Those are like essential ingredients in the Awaken Your Potential recipe for success.
Okay, yeah, because I hear those thrown around a lot, but I'm like, what do those actually look like?
Yeah.
Like in everyday life,
Oh, right. So Awaken Your Potential, they do a great job of breaking it down, like self-discipline, for example.
Yeah.
It's not about being like the superhuman who never slips up. It's about like making those choices day after day that line up with your values and goals, even when it's tough, even when no one's watching,
Yeah. So it's more about like those small, consistent efforts, like building those habits.
Absolutely. Like, think of it as building a bridge to your goals, brick by brick.
I like that. Yeah.
Each choice you make is a brick.
Okay.
It all adds up.
That's much less daunting than like this huge willpower thing.
It's not about being persistent.
I like that. Okay, what about resilience then? Because that feels like a big one too.
It is. And Awaken Your Potential, they encourage building like this mental resilience toolbox, right?
Yeah.
So it's full of like positive affirmations, memories of times you overcame challenges, things that help you kind of get back on your feet when things get tough, because, life, it throws those curveballs.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a matter of if you'll face setbacks, it's when.
For sure.
But it's not about just like gritting your teeth and bearing it,
Right.
Awaken Your Potential. They really emphasize self-care as like a crucial part of resilience.
So it's like knowing when you need to rest and recharge as well.
Exactly. It's about understanding your limits, knowing yourself, and having those tools to support you when you need them.
Yeah. Okay, and then there's growth mindset.
Yes. That's a big one for Awaken Your Potential. They're all about it.
And that's the one where you believe you can always learn and improve.
That's it. It's like this belief that your abilities, they're not fixed. They can be developed through effort and dedication.
Right. But I'll be honest, sometimes that feels hard to believe when you're stuck, like when you feel like you're in a rut.
I get it. But what's cool is Awaken Your Potential emphasizes it's not about being naturally gifted. It's about believing in the power of effort, They have all these inspiring stories of people who achieved incredible things, not because they were like born brilliant, but because they were willing to put in the work. They learn from their mistakes and they keep growing.
So it's less about talent and more about grit then. Like perseverance.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And they offer tons of tips for cultivating this mindset, like seeking feedback, seeing challenges as opportunities to learn, and surrounding yourself with other people
Mm.
who have that growth mindset. It's about creating an environment where you can thrive.
I like that because then it feels like you have more control over your success.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
not
Yeah.
just like, oh, I wasn't born with this, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you can actually work towards it.
You can cultivate it.
I like that.
Yeah.
So all this talk about character, it's really making me rethink my definition of success. It's not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become along the way.
That's exactly it. And Awaken Your Potential gives us this like framework for building that strong foundation.
Yeah,
And their channel, it's full of these practical tools and inspiring stories. And I really think it can help us all live like more meaningful lives.
that's awesome. So it's not just about watching a video and feeling inspired. It's about
Yeah.
actually applying it and seeing that real change.
Yes.
Okay, I love that. I need to deep dive into their channel even more. But for now, let's get specific on how we can build these qualities in our own lives.
Hmm.
Self-discipline, resilience, growth mindset. Where do we even begin?
Well, let's start with self-discipline, that bridge building, remember?
Yeah. But before we go there, I'm curious, like in your own life, have you seen how focusing on building character has actually impacted like your success or the success of people you know?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen it firsthand, both in my own journey
Yeah.
and in the lives of others. It's like that saying, success leaves clues.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look closely at, the people who consistently achieve their goals and live these fulfilling lives, you often find that strong foundation of character, like underpinning their achievements.
So it's not just like a feel-good concept. It actually like
No.
translates into real results.
Tangible results. Yeah.
Hi.
You see, like, the people who prioritize building character, they're often the ones who can, weather those storms of life, bounce back from those setbacks, and stay committed to their goals, even when things get tough. They prioritize integrity, over shortcuts, and they're thinking long-term fulfillment instead of that instant gratification.
Right.
And those choices, they might seem small, but they compound over time,
Right.
and that leads to those extraordinary outcomes. So they're playing the long game, like investing in those qualities that will just like pay off, in all areas.
Exactly. And Awaken Your Potential does such a great job of like highlighting this connection, between character and success. They share like all these inspiring stories about people who've achieved remarkable things, not because they were born with like special talents or advantages, but because they cultivated those inner strengths, those pillars of character.
Yeah. Right. So it's like about luck or circumstance, more about building that foundation, within yourself.
100%, yeah. And speaking of building that foundation, let's actually like dive into some specific strategies.
Okay.
For cultivating these 3 key character traits that we discussed: self-discipline, resilience, and growth mindset. Awaken Your Potential offers so many practical tools and techniques.
Yeah.
So let's explore like a few that really resonate with me. How about that? Perfect. So let's start with self-discipline. What are some like actionable steps we can take to build that bridge, to our goals? Like Awaken Your Potential describes it.
Right. So remember that analogy of like building a bridge brick by brick.
Yeah.
Awaken Your Potential. They remind us that self-discipline, it's not about like this massive overhaul, overnight. It's about those small, consistent choices. Like those daily bricks that we lay that eventually form that solid structure.
So less about willpower and more about like building those habits, those tiny habits.
Exactly. And, one strategy Awaken Your Potential recommends is like focusing on your why. What's the deeper motivation behind your goal? Why is it important to you? Because connecting to that why can really provide that fuel, to keep going, even when you just don't feel like it,
Yeah, because it's easy to get caught up in the what and the how.
Yeah.
And forget like that underlying why.
Exactly. So when those moments of doubt come up or resistance, remembering your why, it can really help you stay focused. And Awaken Your Potential also talks about like the power of visualization. They encourage us to like create a really vivid mental picture of ourselves achieving our goal.
So it's like we're already experiencing the success we're working towards.
Yeah. Exactly. And the more we visualize ourselves succeeding,
Yeah.
our subconscious mind starts to believe it's possible, and
Right.
that can create some powerful momentum.
It's like we're rewiring our brains to actually believe it.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And awaken your potential also suggests, like, creating a really supportive environment. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, encourage your growth, and hold you accountable,
Yep, having a cheerleading squad for your growth.
Exactly, exactly.
But-
Because building self-discipline, it's not always easy.
Right.
There will be those times when you're tempted to give up or
Mhm.
take the easier path or succumb to those distractions.
Mhm.
But having that supportive network,
Yeah.
it can make all the difference.
It's like a safety net.
Yeah,
And like a team of motivators, too.
absolutely. And that brings us to our next character trait, resilience. Remember that mental resilience toolbox we talked about?
Oh, yeah. I love that visual. So what are some of the tools, like Awaken Your Potential suggests we put in there?
Well, one really powerful tool is like positive self-talk. Notice how you talk to yourself,
Yeah.
especially during those challenging times. Are you your own worst critic or your own best cheerleader?
Right. Because that can really impact, like, how you are able to bounce back.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Awaken Your Potential reminds us that we have the power to choose our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
We can focus on our strengths, celebrate our accomplishments,
Yeah.
and reframe those setbacks as like learning opportunities.
So it's like building a more supportive inner voice.
Exactly. And another tool that Awaken Your Potential highlights is the importance of seeking support. It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
It's not a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
It's a sign of strength
Right.
and self-awareness. So whether it's reaching out to a trusted friend or a family member or a therapist or even joining a support group, connecting with others, it can provide that sense of belonging, perspective, and encouragement, especially when we need it most.
Like, we're not meant to go through these challenges alone.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
that strength in, like, community
Yes.
and connection.
Exactly, exactly. And Awaken Your Potential also emphasizes the importance of self-care as a tool for building resilience.
Yeah. Because you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Exactly. Taking care of our physical, mental, and emotional well-being, it's essential for navigating those ups and downs.
Mhm.
So that could include things like getting enough sleep, eating nourishing foods, moving your body regularly,
Right.
spending time in nature, engaging in hobbies that bring you joy, and practicing those mindfulness techniques.
So you're building a foundation so you can better handle those challenges.
Yes, 100%. And now let's move on to that final character trait, a growth mindset.
Yes. That's the one that Awaken Your Potential, like, really champions, right?
Yeah.
It's that belief that you can always learn and improve no matter where you're at.
Yes. And Awaken Your Potential provides like so many inspiring examples of people who achieved incredible things, not because they were naturally gifted, but because they embraced that growth mindset. They were willing to put in the effort, learn from mistakes, and just keep growing,
Yeah.
even when things were tough.
So how can we cultivate a growth mindset in our own lives? What are some tips, like from Awaken Your Potential?
Well, one key strategy is to like reframe those challenges as opportunities for growth, instead of seeing setbacks as failures.
Yeah.
We can choose to see them as those valuable learning experiences.
Well, it's like shifting your perspective, embracing the idea that mistakes are just part of the process.
Exactly, exactly. And Awaken Your Potential, they also suggest seeking feedback, both positive and constructive.
Yeah. It's not just about fishing for compliments.
Yeah.
But it's about being open to learning and growing,
Yes.
even if it's not what you want to hear.
Exactly. Because feedback, even if it's tough to receive, it can provide those valuable insights that help us improve and reach our full potential. Awaken Your Potential also encourages us to like celebrate our progress, no matter how small.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in striving for the next thing and not like
Yeah.
appreciate how far you've come.
Exactly. Celebrating those wins, both big and small, it helps us stay motivated, boosts our confidence, and reinforces that belief that we are capable of achieving great things.
So it's like a positive feedback loop.
Exactly.
The more you acknowledge and celebrate,
Yeah,
the more motivated you become.
100%. And that's the beauty of a growth mindset.
Yeah.
It's that continuous journey of learning and evolving and becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Not reaching a destination, it's about that process of growth and change.
Exactly. And Awaken Your Potential. They provide that roadmap and the tools and the community to guide us along the way.
Okay, I'm feeling super inspired to like dive deeper into Awaken Your Potential's content.
Yeah.
And like explore all those tools and techniques that they offer.
Me too. But for now, let's shift gears a little bit and explore some real-life examples of how people have actually used these principles we've been discussing to transform their lives. I think hearing these stories could spark even more ideas for our listeners.
I love a good success story, because it's so inspiring to see how these concepts can actually be applied. So what kind of transformations have you seen, like in your own life or in the lives of others?
I've seen some remarkable transformations, really. One story that comes to mind is this young man named David who just always struggled with self-doubt. He had so much potential, but he constantly held himself back. He was afraid to take those risks, or pursue his dreams.
It's like he was standing in his own way.
Yeah.
But what changed that for him?
He stumbled upon Awaken Your Potential.
Okay.
And their message really resonated with him. He started watching their videos on building self-confidence and cultivating that growth mindset. And slowly but surely, things started to shift for him. He began to challenge those negative self-beliefs, and he started taking small steps outside his comfort zone.
So not a magical overnight transformation.
No.
It was a series of choices and steps.
Small steps, yeah. Intentional choices that built upon each other.
Got it.
He started by setting these small achievable goals, like speaking up more in meetings or taking on a new project at work. And as he experienced those small successes, his confidence grew,
It's amazing how those small wins can build on each other.
To snowball into something much bigger. Absolutely. Yeah. And David, he also started surrounding himself with more supportive people, those who believed in him and encouraged his growth. Awaken Your Potential really talks about, the importance of building a positive and empowering social circle. And David took that to heart.
Yeah, it's like having a team in your corner,
Exactly, exactly. And as David's confidence grew, so did his resilience. When he faced setbacks, he didn't crumble. He didn't give up easily. He had developed that inner strength and belief in his ability to bounce back.
He built that toolbox.
He built that toolbox, exactly. Another inspiring story that comes to mind is this woman named Maria, who had always struggled with her weight and body image. She tried countless diets and exercise programs, but nothing seemed to stick.
Yeah, a lot of people can relate to that. It's so defeating, when you keep trying and not seeing the result.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for Maria, it was more than just a physical struggle. It was impacting her self-esteem and her well-being. But then she discovered Awaken Your Potential. And she started watching their videos on self-love and body acceptance.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Especially with all the unrealistic beauty standards we see all the time.
It is. It is. And for Maria, it was this complete paradigm shift. She started to focus on nourishing her body with healthy foods and movement that brought her joy rather than punishing herself with these restrictive diets and those grueling workouts.
So it was more about self-care and honoring her body than deprivation.
Exactly, exactly. And as she started to treat herself with more kindness and compassion, she started noticing a shift in her energy and her mindset. She felt more confident, more empowered, and more at peace with herself.
It's amazing how changing your inner world can really have that impact on your outer world.
It's a ripple effect, And for Maria, it was more than just a physical transformation. It was a complete transformation of her relationship with herself. And Awaken Your Potential. That's what they emphasize. True transformation, it starts within.
Building that strength and that self-love and that belief in yourself.
Exactly, exactly. And when we do that, everything else starts to fall into place.
Okay, these stories, so inspiring. It's amazing to see how these principles that we're talking about, they can actually create change in people's lives.
Real change. It's a testament to the power of personal growth and these incredible resources that Awaken Your Potential offers.
Yeah.
Their content is really transformative.
Okay, so let's say someone's listening right now and they're like, I want to start my own personal growth journey. What advice would you give them? From your own experience and all the wisdom from Awaken Your Potential?
That's a great question. I would say first and foremost, be patient with yourself. Personal growth, it's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah. It's not like reaching an end.
No.
It's this ongoing thing.
It's ongoing. There will be ups and downs. There will be twists and turns. There will be moments when you feel like giving up.
Yeah.
but it's about embracing that process of learning, evolving, and becoming, the best version of yourself. And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Right.
Awaken. Your potential provides this incredible community of support, and this wealth of resources and guidance.
Their channel is like a treasure trove of like personal growth wisdom and those practical tools.
Yes.
They make it feel so much more accessible and doable.
And I would encourage listeners to start small. Don't try to change everything overnight.
Yeah.
Focus on one small habit or one area of your life that you want to improve.
Yeah. Baby steps, baby steps.
Baby steps, exactly. And celebrate those wins,
Yeah.
Acknowledge your progress, no matter how small. And just give yourself credit for the effort you're putting in.
Because even if they seem insignificant, they're still steps forward.
They are. They are. And finally, remember that personal growth, it's a lifelong journey. There's always something new to learn, something new to explore, and something new to discover about yourself.
It's not about reaching some final destination, but embracing that process.
Exactly. And Awaken Your Potential is there to guide you every step of the way.
I love that. So to wrap things up, I want to encourage everyone listening, check out Awaken Your Potential on YouTube.
Yes.
Dive into all of their amazing content. They have videos, podcasts, blog posts, everything.
It's like a one-stop shop for all things personal growth, and they're always adding new content, so there's always something fresh to discover.
And don't forget to join their community forum. It's such an amazing space to connect with other people who are also on their own personal growth journeys.
It's a great way to share your experiences, ask questions, get support, and just celebrate each other's successes.
Well, that brings us to the end of another deep dive. I hope you found this exploration of character, self-discipline, resilience, and growth mindset insightful and inspiring.
And I hope you feel empowered to embark on your own journey, knowing you have the tools and the resources and the support to create a life that is truly fulfilling.
Remember, you have the power within you to awaken your potential. Until next time, keep thriving and keep shining.
I've seen some truly remarkable transformations. One story that comes to mind is this young man named David, who just always struggled with self-doubt. He had so much potential, but he constantly held himself back, afraid to take those risks or pursue his dreams.
It's like he was standing in his own way.
Yeah.
But what changed that for him?
He stumbled upon Awaken Your Potential, and their message really resonated with him. He started watching the videos on building self-confidence and cultivating that growth mindset.
Okay.
And slowly but surely, things started to shift for him. He began to challenge those negative self-beliefs, and he started taking small steps outside his comfort zone.
So not a magical overnight transformation.
Yeah.
It was a series of choices and steps.
Small steps, yeah, intentional choices.
Okay.
That built upon each other.
Got it.
He started by setting these small achievable goals, like speaking up more in meetings or taking on a new project at work. And as he experienced those small successes, his confidence grew.
It's amazing how those small wins can build on each other.
They snowball into something much bigger. Absolutely. Right. And David, he also started surrounding himself with more supportive people, those who believed in him and encouraged his growth. Awaken Your Potential really talks about, the importance of building a positive and empowering social circle. And David took that to heart.
Yeah, it's like having a team in your corner.
Exactly, exactly. And as David's confidence grew, so did his resilience. When he faced setbacks, he didn't crumble. He didn't give up easily. He had developed that inner strength and belief in his ability to bounce back.
He built that toolbox.
He built that toolbox, exactly. Another inspiring story that comes to mind is this woman named Maria, who had always struggled with her weight and body image. She tried countless diets and exercise programs, but nothing seemed to stick.
Yeah, a lot of people can relate to that. It's so defeating, when you keep trying and not seeing the results.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for Maria, it was more than just a physical struggle. It was impacting her self-esteem and her well-being. But then she discovered Awaken Your Potential.
Okay.
And she started watching their videos on self-love and body acceptance.
That's huge, especially with all the unrealistic beauty standards we see all the time.
It is. It is. And for Maria, it was this complete paradigm shift, She started to focus on nourishing her body with healthy foods and movement that brought her joy, rather than punishing herself with these restrictive diets and those grueling workouts.
So it was more about self-care.
Yes.
And honoring her body.
Yes.
Than deprivation.
Exactly, exactly. And as she started to treat herself with more kindness and compassion, she started noticing a shift in her energy, in
Okay.
her mindset, you
Yeah.
know? She felt
Yeah.
more confident, more empowered, and more at peace with herself.
It's amazing how like changing your inner world can really have that impact on your outer world.
It's a ripple effect, you know? And for Maria, it was more than just a physical transformation.
Hmm.
It was a complete transformation of her relationship with herself.
Yeah.
And awaken your potential. That's what they emphasize. True transformation, it starts within.
Building that strength and that self-love and that belief
Yes,
in yourself.
exactly. Exactly. And when we do that, everything else starts to fall into place.
Wow, those are powerful stories. I think they highlight how much of a difference focusing on our character can really make.
Yeah,
It's like you were saying, true success comes from within.
it really does. And it's a journey, not a destination, right?
Yeah.
And awaken your potential. They give us the tools and the inspiration to keep moving forward on that path.
And they make it feel so much more attainable.
Absolutely. They break it down into these practical steps that we can all take no matter where we are in our lives.
I love that. So to everyone listening out there, if you're feeling inspired to start your own personal growth journey, I highly recommend checking out Awaken Your Potential.
Mhm.
Their YouTube channel is a fantastic resource with tons of valuable content. And don't forget to check out their podcast too.
Yes. And their community forum is great for connecting with other people who are on the same path.
Exactly. It's a wonderful way to share experiences, get support, and stay motivated. Well, that brings us to the end of another deep dive. I hope you found this exploration of character, self-discipline, resilience, and growth mindset helpful and inspiring.
And I hope you feel empowered to start building that strong foundation within yourselves. Remember, true success is an inside job.
Beautifully said. And remember, you have the power within you to awaken your potential. Until next time, keep thriving and keep shining.